All right, welcome. Happy Friday. I'll just get these set up here so I can see your beautiful face. So we're going to get started today with a little bit of a sound healing, kind of orchestrating some calmness through the nervous system. But as always, we're going to start with our cannabis friend, our ganja mama. Giving ourselves the opportunity to really connect with the cannabis plant is super important. As you know, in my practice, it allows me for that deeper mind-body connection. So in essence, what yoga is about is stilling, finding calmness in the mind. Yoga Shruti Vritti Narota, I believe is how it's said, as yoga calms the stillness. Yoga stills the mind. As you can tell, I've already been partaking today. So I have this beautiful lemon meringue that I brought back from Soulflower Cannabis out in Arizona from retreat last week. And so I've been really enjoying the flavor profile on this lemon, obviously. So I'm getting those nice citrusy terps going alongside this flavorful blend. So as you know, I like to take that dry hit. I'm really getting to taste my cannabis right before I even get started in smoking it. You know, that's all about the seeing it and touching it and smelling it and even taking it in before we take it in. And as we bring in our fire, as we ignite our flower, our cannabis, we really want to honor her presence in our life, like how she can bring about such peace and such joy in situations that might not feel so great. So I find clarity, I find stillness, sometimes I find arousal. Cannabis is my healing friend. So just lighting the cannabis, we honor that, knowing that with this ignition, right, we get to send our intention out to the universe while partaking in that intention, bringing it into our body with the cannabis. Now we're telling the cannabis where to go with our intentions. So say there's something you're working on in life, maybe you have an ailment that you're working through. We've all got some sort of thing that maybe persists in our life through our body, those little messages. When we're using cannabis for pain relief or for function in through our body, we want to make sure that we're telling the cannabis where to go. So when you smell your cannabis in the store to buy it or partake in it, or from your dealer friend, whoever it might be, right? You know, support that black market. Wherever you find your cannabis, really, it's really important. Like I talk almost every time about how it tastes, how it smells. That aroma is really what's going to bring you in and help those cannabinoids find their place in your body. So releasing down, so we can get started today, making sure that you have your water, your H2O nearby. However you're sitting, I want you to change the seat. So I was on my knees, I'm going to change to my legs here. Maybe you had your right foot crossed in front. Maybe now you bring your left foot crossed in front. Okay, wherever you find yourself, I want you to just sit up nice and tall. Think about moving the flesh out from underneath your bum and sit those sit bones into the mat. Feel your pelvic floor start to tilt in a nice parallel to the floor below. So imagining that bowl of soup, that pelvis, right? We don't want it to still or tilt. Drawing your chin parallel with the mat and bringing the sternum to belly connection here. As soon as you start to pull the bottom part of that sternum toward the belly, you're going to start to notice how it pulls your shoulders back and down. Now turn your palms up in your lap and just drop those elbows down toward the floor and close your eyes. Taking a moment here to just settle in and find some peace. As you hear the sound of the bell, I want you to pay attention to the beginning, the middle, and the end of the sound of this bell. Just keeping those eyes closed. Nice deep breathing here. Hopefully you're hearing the beauty of this bell, this sound. I know it can have trouble converting sometimes in the Zoom world. Take a moment here to soften your face, soften your jaw. Starting to go within to think about what it is that you're working on in this life. What do you need from your practice today? What's your intention? Maybe your intention looks like an affirmation, like I am, I have, maybe I do, and then just finish that sentence. Maybe your intention is a much bigger picture, some grand thing at the end of all of this, right? What is it that you're working for? Picture it, imagine it, know the two truths that you don't get to pick how it comes or when it comes, but you do get to pick what comes. So be specific. Taking a few more deep breaths, really connecting with that earth, allowing that breath to come in and gently flow out. Few more breaths here as you inhale, filling those lungs out to the side of the room. And gently softening as you exhale to let your intention out into the universe. Now bring your palms together at your heart. Bring the thumbs into the chest and press those fingertips together. Allow the palms to press together and press the elbows away from you. Drop your chin into your chest. A nice reverent bow, giving honor and grace, knowing that everything we create in this moment becomes fluid as our movements become fluid. Smile at yourself, knowing that all of this is already yours. Taking a nice big inhale in through the nose, bring your chin parallel. Smile and open your eyes. Exhale, palms up. Nice job. So I want you to scoot to the back of your mat. Work your booty all the way back there if you're not there already. Again, walk those butt cheeks out. So walking the heels toward the end of the mat maybe, and then finding your seat. As soon as you find that seat, you'll be able to sit up nice and tall. Here, we're activating that sternum to belly connection to feel that rib cage tighten. With the palms up, we press the heels into the mat. We're really reaching and flexing those feet toward that wall over there. On your inhale, reach the arms up. See if you can keep your shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, turn the palms out, push away. Reach those fingertips down. Inhale, reach up. Maybe your legs are starting to shake. Good. We're turning on that energy. Exhale, drop those hands down. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Last time, inhale, press it up. And this time, draw your hands down through heart center. Nice job. Let's cross over those ankles. Let's roll it forward. Finding your tabletop. So I'm going to turn so you can get the view here. I want you to make sure that those hands are underneath your wrists. When you get them there, you're going to press into the fingertip mound and the fingertip. So right where it starts to touch the palm and right at the end of that finger, you're going to push and squeeze into the mat. It creates a spider grip. It almost creates a sensation of like you're opening a jar. We've all opened a jar, right? That's what it feels like as you twist. This is going to rotate the eyes and the elbows out. Proper form and function is really important so we don't injure ourselves in our stretching practice. Look behind you. Let your shins and toes disappear into two nice long lines behind those thighs. Good. Press down through your toenails to activate your legs. Pull your sternum to meet your belly and drop those shoulders back and down. So we're in a basic tabletop here. On your inhale, you're going to reach the tailbone up to the sky. You're going to drop the belly down. You're going to bring the chest forward and eye gaze up. Pressing out of those fingertips, squeezing into those palms. On your push away, exhale, round and curl. Drop the tailbone, curl the spine, tuck the chin to the chest, and squeeze into your fingertips. Noticing how each movement, we still start with that tailbone. So on your inhale, reach the tailbone up, drop that belly down, chest forward, eye gaze up. Soften your jaw as you push away on the exhale, rounding and curling, tailbone down first, belly arches, chin to chest last. Good, one more inhale, tailbone reaches, belly drops, chest forward, eye gaze up. And last time to round it out and push away, chin comes to chest last. Nice job. Bring your big toes to touch. We're going to send our knees to the edges of the mat. Make those knees wide. Keep those toes touching and press your hips to your heels. As you use those hands to press your hips to your heels, I want you to start to claw those hands away and release your belly between your thighs, forehead into the mat. Rock it side to side here, connecting that third eye. So we've gone from the feet all the way to the head. Taking it in really quick, moving through the body, just waking everything up. Take a nice big inhale. Soften and relax your jaw and see if you can sink it down a little more. Take those palms, press them into the mat, press your hips back and down and lift your chest. Exhale and walk it over to the right. We're going to squish that belly. Drop that belly onto the thigh, walk your right hand out, and then bring your left hand on top. Drop the forehead in between the biceps and walk your fingertips away. Soften your face. Soften your jaw. Allow yourself to really settle in here, pressing that left hip back and down toward the heel. You can come onto the fingertips and use that fingertip grip to push into that left hip. Smile, soften your face. And one more big deep breath on this right side. And inhale to come back onto the fingertips. Walk it over to center. Walk those hands out, drop it down. See if you're a little deeper. Rock your forehead on the mat, side to side. Reconnecting that third eye. And now working through the transverse colon, moving from the right to the left side of the body with our belly squish. Inhale, come onto the fingertips. Lift off. Walk it over to the left as you exhale, soften to press it down. So drop the belly onto the thigh. Reach those left fingertips out, bring a right hand on top. We're starting to feel a side stretch through the right side of the body as we anchor that right hip down to the heel. Relax your face and let it go. 2 more breaths here. Feeling the belly push back on the thigh, anchoring that right hip down, and really feeling the stretch through the right side body. Good. On your next inhale, lift high off those fingertips. Walk it back to center. Walk those hands out, forehead down, shift it forward, find your palms. Bring the knees underneath you and extend long through the toes. Walk your hands out, one more hand length. And squeeze into your spider grip. Protect your wrists here. Rotate the eyes of the elbows forward and micro bend those elbows. Curl your toes under and start to lift the knees and hover. Then we begin to squish the belly to the thighs. Squish it, squish it, squish it. Lift the hips up to the sky. Find your downward dog. Squeezing into that spider grip. Shake your head no. And not a yes. Nice job. Once you shake it out the head, I want you to squeeze into the spider grip and press your arms into, or press your hands into the mat, strengthening those arms. Trying to melt your chest toward your thighs. Make sure you're keeping that micro bend in the elbows. Make sure you're pressing your chest toward the thighs. Start to work those heels down to the mat and maybe pedal it out here. One leg at a time, bending it and straightening that opposite leg so you can feel it all the way through the hip. We're here for 2 more cycles of pedaling. Last one. And start to straighten it up, straighten those legs, lift those hips up to the sky. Come high on the toes, bend the knees. Start to walk it forward on those tiptoes. So tiptoe walk to the top of your mat. Bring those big toes to touch. Maybe you keep a little separation between the heels. On your inhale, come up for a half lift. Create a figure 7 with your body. And then exhale to hinge it forward. As you press through those feet, I want you to round and curl. Start stacking 1 vertebrae at a time, starting with that tailbone. Shoulders come back. Head is last to lift. We reach those fingertips down to come up. Tuck your tailbone, cactus the arms, and exhale your breath to the sky. Inhale up. Pull your hands down through your heart center and hinge it forward. Coming on down. Finding a little release here. Hands frame the feet, bend the knees. Step your right foot back. Good. With that right hand into the mat, I want you to drop down to that right knee. Keep your toes curled. Good. Press into the right hand and peel the left leg back. Curl onto your toes. Good. Stay curled. Shift your hips to your heels. Good. Now stay right here. We're going to start to wake up the soles of the feet. Maybe you press back through those hands, through those arms, squishing the belly to the thighs even more. Maybe you're like, holy cow, this is too much. I want you to just back off a little bit, walk the fingertips forward, okay? So the more you start to press the hands back, the more you're going to get that toe stretch. If you want to take it a little further, walk yourself back so you start to sit onto those heels. Make sure if you're like me, my little toes never want to get involved. So I just have to sweep them up and under to get them in there. As you sit up nice and tall, maybe here, or you're reaching nice and long, think about keeping that sternum to belly connection. Holding here for 3, 2, I know it gets intense. And on the 1, peel yourself forward. Come even farther out and tap the tops of those toes gently on the floor. Nice. Curl onto those toes. Square out those shoulders. Reach those eyes and the elbows forward as you lift those hips up to the sky. Finding your downward facing dog once again. Shake your head no. Bring in something awesome on that nod, yes. Nice. Come high on the toes. Inhale, lift your right leg up high to the sky. Then pivot in like you're a flamingo. We're still high on those back toes. Now shift your body weight forward and look over that ledge of your fingertips. See now if you can kick that right foot in between the hands, finding your lunge. Square your hips by squeezing an imaginary block between the thighs. Imagine that, or I shouldn't say imagine, we want the right knee over the right ankle. No imagining here. Right knee over right ankle here. Okay, nice long line. You're pressing into the big toe mound here on this left foot. And then you're pressing so hard into the mound of that left foot that you're pushing that heel away. Then when you squeeze in that pelvic floor, it tightens everything up. You should feel that. Sweep the left arm, right arm up to the sky. So we're twisting our torso toward that bent leg up front. Maybe your eye gaze comes up and looks at that right thumb. Windmill it down, inside of that right arch. Heel toe walk your foot out. We're moving into a little bit of a lizard. So we want to bring our right foot onto the floor. We want to stack our shoulders over our wrists. We want to squeeze into our spider grip, and we can stay right here for that lizard lunge, squeezing that imaginary block, pressing up and out of our foundation. You can also drop down to the back knee. You can either keep the toes curled or release through the top of that foot. Next step, if you're not feeling it, you want to feel a little more, is dropping down to the forearms. When you drop down to the forearms, you want to make sure that you're squaring the hips. This is going to start to open up that right inner thigh just a little more. Press into the big toe mound on that right foot, wherever you are. Feel the activation through that right leg. Keep trying to pull your chest between the shoulder blades. Keep those shoulders nice and strong. Don't sink it down. Breathing here for 3, 2, and 1. Coming on to the hands. If you are on those forearms. Heel toe walking your foot back in between those hands, and then coming back on those back toes if you're not already there. Good. Kick your right foot back to meet the left. Shift it back, downward dog. Shake your head no. Surrender here. Release the crown of the head toward the left. Soften your jaw as you shake that no. Just like a dog shakes water off its back, same thing is happening here with our no. Squeeze into your spider grip, push away. Melt the chest toward the thighs and start to shake that head yes. Nod it yes. What are you thankful for right now? Just focus on that. Soften your jaw. Let it go. Nice. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, come high on your right toes. Bring that left knee into the chest. Then shift your body weight forward, coming over those shoulders. Then see if you can kick that left foot in between those hands. Square it up. Left knee over left ankle. You're pressing back with that right heel. You're squeezing that imaginary block to keep those hips square. The right hand is going to be in the mat here, and you're really making sure that that feeling between the thighs is activating your legs. Okay? Keep your spine nice and long, and windmill the left arm up to the sky. Keep squeezing that imaginary block. Keep the crown of the head reaching, so don't let it dump down here. Really reach it out. Pressing through that right palm, squeezing that block, kicking back through that right heel, and then windmill that left hand down inside the left foot. Walk your left foot out to the floor and bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Right here might be it. Squeezing that imaginary block, holding your nice long lizard lunge. Maybe you drop it down to the knee. Find a little more depth in the hips. Maybe you release those back toes and press down. Maybe you're ready to come into those forearms. Drop it down and think about reaching your chest forward. We don't want to dump into the shoulders here. Whether we're on the hands or on those forearms, we're pushing away. Press into the big toe mound on that left foot. And make sure you're not dumping all the weight into this right arm. Right hand. You're pushing in equally between both sides of those arms. Holding here for 3. Feeling the openness of those thighs. For 2, reaching that head forward, pressing out of those hands or forearms. And on the 1, slowly starting to release, coming onto the hands if you were on the forearms, walking that left foot back in, curling onto the toes if you're not already there. And this time, shifting it forward and bringing your right foot to meet the left. Finding Uttanasana toward the top of your mat. On our inhale, we come up for that half lift, figure 7. Exhale, letting it go. Press through the feet, root to rise, come all the way up. Shoulders back, head lifts high, fingertips reach to the sky, and exhale to let it go. Inhale back up. Gather up that energy, pull it down through heart center as you close your eyes, reach those fingertips down beside you. We're finding our mountain pose, Tadasana. Now, before you get too settled in, maybe you find a drink of water. You know, I need one. You can always grab a puppy or cannabis too if you like. So with the big toes touching, maybe there's separation between the heels. Maybe you can zip those heels up. There's a buoyancy in the knees. There's a micro bend to keep the fluid moving up and down those legs. With the fingertips reaching down beside you, you're actually reaching back toward the earth. So where the feet are pulling that earth in, your fingertips are reaching it back out into the earth. You want to pull your shoulder blades back, and then think about the bottom part of the shoulder blades, like kind of by your bra strap. Pull that down your backside. Close your eyes. Lift your toes. Start with the pinky toes and replace those toes down one at a time, allowing all four corners of the feet to really mesh into the mat. Tuck in that pelvic floor. Pull the sternum to belly. Create that nice stacking sensation, head over heart, heart over pelvis. Keep reaching those fingertips. With the eyes closed here, it might get a little rocky, right? It might start to sway with our breath. Allow that to happen. It's natural. It's normal for the body to sway here. Soften your jaw. Smile. Look at you standing tall like the mountain you are. Radiating your energy forward through those hands, out those feet. Bringing in all that is amazing and meant for you in through those feet, in through those hands. Feel the vibration at the center of your core. Every mountain has a core. Every volcano that erupts started with that core, that center. Be the spark. Allow that light to shine in there. Open the eyes. Inhale to reach up for the sky. Swan dive forward like you're a butterfly, releasing down into your Uttanasana, forward fold. Let's reset the spine by coming up for our figure 7, a half lift. Your fingertips can be on the mat, on the shins, or on the thighs. You decide. Forward fold to release it down. Bend the knees, step your right foot back. Step your left foot back. Moving through a knees, chest, chin here. So let's start with our foundation. If we have a good, strong foundation, eventually we can take ourselves into that chaturanga. So listen closely, okay? Bring your feet, they can be about hips distance apart, all the way in together. You decide, but we want to press back through those heels. That's going to activate the length through the legs, okay? Then we tuck in that pelvic floor, just as if we were standing. We pull the sternum to belly button, and imagine feeling your collarbone between your shoulder blades. Squeeze into your spider grip, shift high on those toes, and drop down to your knees. Now, bring the elbows, the eyes of the elbows forward. Start to bend those elbows into hug your torso. Then release it down, chest and chin. Let your booty stay lifted. Then kick back through those feet. Let the pelvic floor release. Tops and toes into the mat. Lift up that chest. Lift up that chin. So your eye gaze is forward out in front of you, about, 2 to 3 feet maybe, whatever you can see. Mine would probably go farther if my altar wasn't there. But pull your shoulders back and down. Peel your elbows back behind you. Press in through your toenails. Soften your face. Soften your jaw. One more deep breath. And then exhale to release and let it go. Nice job. Curl onto your toes. Press in through your power. Push up. Shift it back. Downward dog. Now moving through a little bit of that release, finding our opportunity maybe to surrender here. Squeezing into your spider grip, lift your hips up to the sky and shake that head, no? Exhale to nod a yes. Inhale to reach the right leg up to the sky. Exhale to bring it forward, up and through, back into that flamingo, right? Come high on those back toes, bring the right knee to the right elbow, then cross the body and drop the knee down toward that right wrist. Okay, so I'm going to face forward now so you can kind of see what's happening with my leg here. So we came forward and we dropped that right knee down right next to that wrist. I realize you can't see me. There we go, right next to that wrist. Okay, then that left foot walks back behind us, super far. Okay, Look over the left shoulder and see if you can get a nice long line. If you're way up here and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to ever do that, no stress, okay? There's an alternative here. There's actually 2 or 3 alternatives. So the first one is to like grab a blanket or pillow. I have my big giant pillow here. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be sitting out to the side here. But we want to get it underneath that right butt cheek, okay? So we want to bring the ground up to us. However we do that, with a book, with a block, with a towel rolled up, with a blanket rolled up, you decide what feels perfectly perfect to get it down there, okay? Once your cheek is resting on something, then that right thigh becomes parallel with the right edge of the mat. We're framing that right thigh, and you start to flex your left foot. The flex in the left foot is going to save and support your right knee, okay? Did I say that right? I don't think I did. Well, you're pressing it in the nice edge of that foot anyway, that front foot, okay? Square up, and then look over that left shoulder now. As long as that right cheek is in a seat, you should be able to look over that shoulder and find a nice long line from the tip of that toe to the front of that hip right here, okay? Now, if this, again, is a little too much, there's another alternative. Move that brick or block out of the way. Get it out from underneath your tushy, okay? Then grab a hold of your long leg in the back there, that left leg, and start to peel it to the side, more like a frog, right? And you'll start to feel it immediately in that glute. It's like, woo, what's happening there, okay? Just hold it right here and see if you can shift into it a little bit. Maybe you do a couple of rollouts here. And then whether you're in your pigeon or you're in this, they call this one deer pose, we're going to flex your right foot. Deer pose, you're also going to flex your left foot, okay? And you notice I'm leaning a lot. This hip needs to be a little more open so I can sit up. So maybe you walk that left knee a little farther away from you, or walk your left toes a little farther back behind you. Wherever you're at, take those elbows, turn them in toward the body, lift your chest forward and hinge forward with a nice flat spine. Keep that flexion on that right foot, and maybe you drop your forehead into the mat. Maybe you're like, whoa, I gotta hold myself here. That's cool too. I want you to come onto those hands, maybe stack them like bubble gum in a dish, right? You can put them on here and then place your forehead on there. Maybe you walk them out. Maybe you're fully flattened onto that belly and starting to feel the full bind in this right hip. So with the right thigh parallel to the edge of the mat still, walking that left thigh way back. This is starting to prepare you for your splits, your forward splits. And I know traditionally, like, we don't talk about forward splits in yoga, but it is part of the practice. Eventually, it's part of the lineage, part of one of the many, probably thousands of asana movements that we can get into our practice. So, just allow yourself to be open to whatever's coming up for you here. In our pigeon pose is about forgiveness. So in our pigeon pose, we're working to release things that are no longer serving us. As we work through this forgiveness, I want you to take a moment here to think of someone in your life. If the male domination, right? So maybe it's your male side, maybe it's your partner or spouse, brother, father, maybe some random dude in traffic today that you're still like fuming about, right? Take a moment here to think of that person who could use your forgiveness today. Maybe you picture them in your mind's eye. You can picture them smiling if it's someone you care for but are just frustrated with. Definitely imagine them happy if it's you. And as you breathe, start to find a surrender here. It's not so easy to surrender in this space of tightness, is it? Taking that breath, that fresh oxygenated breath in through the nose and sending it through your body anywhere you're finding tension. As you inhale, bring in courage, bring in strength to forgive. And as you exhale, I want you to send out that love, that forgiveness to whomever it is of that male side that you're ready to let go, ready to forgive. Three more breaths here. I know it feels like the leg's gonna fall off. I'm doing it with you, so you totally know I understand, okay? It's just yoga. Part of the practice of yoga is cutting off the circulation to some of our limbs. It allows us to bring fresh blood flow back in. And what happens when we have fresh blood in our limbs and our parts of our body that weren't fresh before? We're a new person. So I like to say that every time we leave the mat, we leave as a whole brand new person. Fresh blood, fresh fascia, fresh, all the things that make us be human. One more deep, deep breath. Let it soften here to your edge. And then start to walk those hands back, pressing yourself up. Move slow here. We were in a bind, so that means we're going to be releasing that fresh blood back into those stems, okay? Good. Now, start to come onto your back toes. If you have that deer pose, maybe you start to kick it back and find your knees. Walking your hands a little farther forward until you can bring that right leg back. Oh, yeah. Maybe you tap out the toes, give it a little wiggle, a little jiggle. Then curl onto those toes, lift those knees, and lift the hips up to the sky. Find your downward facing dog, shaking the head no. Letting go of anything that came up, and as you nodded yes, starting to gently pedal out your legs, noticing if your right leg feels longer than the left. Noticing if there's any tension or tightness or soreness anywhere. And if there is, just sending some love into that space. No need to fix anything here. No need to dwell on anything here. Just say thank you for acknowledgement and move about your body. Don't forget to breathe here. Inhaling to move one way and then exhaling to go the other. Good. Release it down to those knees. Squeeze through the knees. Bring those toes to touch. Release through the toes. Press your hips to your heels. Finding a little compression out in front, forehead down. And breathe. Pressing that belly into those thighs. Softening your face. Softening your jaw. So maybe some stuff came up here for you. That's perfectly okay. Oftentimes when we come into those binds, when we're cutting off that circulation, things do come up. What we're doing is we're releasing things from our body somatically. So we're allowing the body to do the releasing without ever having to really communicate what the actual problem was. So maybe pictures from a moment will pop into your head, or words from a conversation or song or something you've read. If any of that kind of stuff comes up for you, just give acknowledgement. Just notice what's ready to leave and let it go with your breath. On your next inhale, pull onto the palms, shift it forward. Square up those shoulders. Make sure that your shoulders are right over those wrists. You should be able to rotate those eyes and the elbows forward pretty nicely. Curl onto the toes, lift the knees and hover, then lift the hips up to the sky. Find your dog. Shake your head no. And nod a yes. Soften your face. Let something go here. On your next inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. Bring it all the way up. Let the left knee tap the left elbow and then drop it down to the wrist. Walk those right toes back behind you so you can start to find that left cheek onto the mat. Now remember to use your prop if you need it. Grab that encyclopedia if you happen to have one of those. Maybe you grab a pillow and fold it up, place it underneath that cheek. I know for a long time I was like, no, a block is way too big. Maybe I need something smaller. So I was like, my hand towel folded up into like 6 seats, right? Like something nice and small with just enough to give me a seat, because we really want to sit that left hip down onto the floor. Then you want to look at that left thigh. Make sure that the whole left thigh is parallel with the left edge of the mat. With the palms surrounding that left knee, you can press up, get a little length with your spine here. Think about peeling your chest between your shoulder blades. Now flex your left foot, that front foot, flex it. This is going to support your knee. So if at any time you start to feel any pain or strain in that left knee, I want you to try flexing it. You might not be supporting it with the muscle groups that surround it. If you're coming into that deer, you're grabbing a hold of that right leg and you're peeling it to the side and then kind of shifting that right knee away from you. So you can start to feel the openness through this right hip, this right glute. Then we flex this right foot. Keep your right foot flex, that deer leg flex. And then we want to try and sit it up towards center. So maybe when you're in that deer starting, you do a couple of rotations on that hip, stopping anywhere there's like a little pocket you want to work on, right? So sitting up nice and tall here. If you're in that deer, we're also going to fold over that leg. I'll show you that way this time since I showed you the other way the other time. So keep flexing both those feet. Pigeons, just keep your right toes extended long. Keep flexing the left foot. Everybody's framing this left knee, and we're going to start to bend those elbows in just like our chaturangas to hug our body here and release the chest down onto that left thigh. Then walk those hands out. Ultimately, we want to get those arms out of the way so the chest can drop to that thigh. Okay. So if you do need to do the bubblegum stack here, it's a little intense. I understand. Remember, where you're headed is not where you are right now. All you need to worry about is this moment, this one right here. So if you're bubblegum in a dish, forehead down, maybe you just start to walk your elbows out away from you a little bit. Okay, it makes it a little harder, right? Makes your chest want to fall down. It makes you start to feel that stretch through that left back. If the arms are out, think about walking those fingertips even farther forward. I'd like to get down into this calf, the shin on the left side. So ideally, this front leg is eventually going to be parallel with the top edge of the mat. I'm not quite there, but that's part of my practice where I'm working. So I want to start, once I find like a really good depth and stretch, you notice I can totally lay it down here. So I can move into it a little further by walking my left shin up. So lots of variables, lots of variations that you can choose. If you're in that pigeon, I want you to press down through your right toes to feel the length through the top of the right thigh. I want you to feel the depth in this left hip. We're really working on the surrender here in this pose. Again, this pose is about forgiveness, about letting go of things that aren't serving us anymore. They say that holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from it. Stop drinking the poison. It's not yours to drink anymore. Flex your left foot and allow that depth of stretch to happen here. Soften your face, soften your jaw. Start to think about that female in your life, that female dominated side, or maybe a specific female in your life who could use your forgiveness. Take a picture of them, place them in your mind's eye, and if it's you, make sure that you're happy in this picture. Using each inhale to expand a little bit. Imagine filling that space up with that fresh oxygen. And as you exhale, soften anywhere. Think about it. Every time we take a nice big deep breath, right, in normal circumstances, you're just like, everything softens, right? You feel that oxygen spill into the corners of your body. We want to stay here as long as we did on the other side. And I know I talked a lot on that other side. I tend to get quiet on the female side. I wonder what that's about. So just knowing and acknowledging that when we move through the sides, we want to try and stick it out as long as we can on both sides. Sometimes that may not work that way, and that's okay. Honor yourself. If you need to pull out a little bit, if you need to back out a little bit, maybe you're up here today. Maybe this is perfectly perfect for you to be right here, feeling that openness through the hips, releasing that tension through the body. Just a few more breaths here. Really allowing yourself the opportunity to maybe feel how the circulation is really cutting off on that left leg. On this next breath, maybe pause the breath at the top. See what it feels like to hold your breath. And let it go. Maybe open mouth, exhale, maybe sigh it out. You're at home, nobody can hear you, let it go. Start to walk the hands back toward the face. Begin to press yourself up. Nice job. Bringing that right leg back if you are in that deer posture, coming onto those toes and starting to shift yourself forward to find the left knee. Find the hands into the mat. Find that spider grip, because this press through the mat is going to be what gets you back there. Curl onto your back toes and lift your leg. Now, kick your left leg up to the sky. Open stack, wiggle your toes, and then just release it down to pedal it out in your downward facing dog. Let the crown of the head hang heavy here. Melt your chest toward your thighs. Start to lengthen through those heels. Notice that maybe your heels are coming to the mat now more than they were before. Notice maybe the length through the right leg is now a little more even with that left leg. One more pedal out here. Good. Then dropping down to those knees. Going into a hero's pose. So we want the knees to touch. We want to create a little space between those heels. One day, we'll want to get our hips down in between those heels without any sort of stabbing or pinching sensation in the knees. So for me, I'm again like that 6-pronged blanket fold right underneath my booty here. So once you start to sink it down, if you start to feel any sort of stabbing sensation in the knees, just come back in with those feet just a little bit. Sit more on top of the calves for now, okay? Eventually, you'll start to work those heels out beside you and be able to sit in between your heels onto the floor without any knee pain at all. But we've got to take our time getting there, okay? Moving slowly, we don't want to hurt those knee joints. So just a few moments here, we're starting to feel the stretch through the top of the thigh here, right where it starts to surround those knees. If you pull in that pelvic floor and tuck that tummy under, thinking about pulling the shoulders back and down, this will help support your spine and create a further stretch through those knees. Any super pinch, any stabbing, go ahead and press your hands into the mat to release a little bit. Maybe even walking those knees back together a little bit more. Finding those palms. Nice job. Curl onto the toes, lift and extend. Finding a little squishy dog, our shortened dog. Shake the head no. Soften the face. Nod it yes. Give a little thanks. Nice. Walk your hands up to the top of feet up to the top of the mat. Find the hands. Good. Come on to your toes and sink it down. Then reach those arms out and as slow as you can, find your butt. It's all right if you flop down. Inhale and lift your heels parallel with the mat. Try and pull your shoulders back here. So don't tuck into it. Lift and pull. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Keep flexing, holding, pulling that chest forward, squeezing that belly button down for 3, 2, and kick those feet out. Reach those arms up over your head and slowly let it all go down. When you get there, just release. Allow the body to soften and take a few breaths wherever your body falls. No judgment here. Just allow your arms, your legs to just drop. Let them stand still wherever they are and take the breaths. 3 to 5 deep, deep breaths, just depending on how big your breaths are right now. And slowly starting to walk your arms down by your sides. Releasing those fingertips down toward the feet. Create a little space with those shoulders back and down. And tuck your chin to your chest. Start to bring the right knee in. Start to bring the left knee in. And then reach up in between your legs. Grab a hold of the knife's edge, the pinky edge of your feet with your fingertips. And then start to kick the soles of the feet up to the sky. Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Allow the soles of the feet to extend. Pull your shoulders back and down. And retuck the chin to the chest if it wandered. You can hold it right here, peeling that tailbone down to the mat to feel those inner thighs. You can also get a little playful here and rock it side to side. And then stopping in the center, peeling down on the edges of those feet by bending those elbows. And then drawing the soles of the feet together, big toes touch, heels touch. Keep a grip on those feet, and then start to push away on the knees on the inside as you peel those feet toward the face. Then drop both feet down, let them find the mat, maybe with a thud, maybe not. Let the soles of the feet come together, and then let the knees fall apart. Now with our Supta Baddha Konasana, we want to think about the angle of our legs, the angle or dangle here, right? So with those feet together, knees apart, it's creating a triangular shape in our legs. If you're like, holy cow, this is way too much for my hips right now, I just want you to walk those feet away from you a little bit, creating more of a diamond shape with the inside of your legs. You can also take your fists, ball them up, and place them underneath the thighs, right where it starts to touch your hips. And that's where you start. Maybe you go there and you're like, oh, that's not enough. Okay, well, walk them down towards your knees a little bit more. Let them settle so you do start to feel and encourage that stretch through the inner thighs. Maybe the soles of your feet are together and you're in that triangle shape up here. You can always take the palms and place them down on the inner thighs if you want to add on, if you want to take on a little bit more depth of this stretch. And if you feel like you can really zen out here, you can attach the energy at the top like it is at the bottom by bringing those palms together in prayer, bringing the heels of the hands to the top of the head and letting the elbows go wide out to the sides of the room. Basically just completing the figure 8 with your body. If the palms don't touch, you can always reach for opposite elbows here too. Finding your place, finding your space here for just a few more moments. Soften your face. Drop the tongue from the roof of your mouth and let your eyeballs hang heavy in the back of your head. Release the fingertips down by your thighs, outside edge. And on your next inhale, use your fingers. Use those hands and squeeze those knees together as you breathe in. And then just gently rock it side to side, moving very, very slow, dropping those legs from one side to the other. And stopping in the center, bringing both knees into the chest. Let's lift the forehead up to meet the knees. Give those knees a little kiss. Then extend your right leg out. Left leg follows. Releasing down into your Shavasana, fingertips reaching toward those heels. Allow your chest to go toward the sky. Allow your pelvic floor to soften here. As you inhale, thinking about bringing in good, positive energy. And as you soften that breath on the exhale, thinking about releasing into the mat anything that is no longer serving you. Our mat takes care of so much. We get to let it go here. We get to leave it here. We get to release it and surrender here. Relaxing the tongue from the roof of the mouth, softening those eyeballs. Starting at the crown of the head, the tips of the hair, working yourself all the way down to the bottoms of the feet and the tips of the toenails. Doing a gentle body scan, noticing anywhere there might be tension or tightness. Taking another deep, deep breath and letting yourself go. Staying here as long as you can stand. In that moment where you feel like you've had enough, maybe you take 3 to 5 more breaths before choosing to come out. I'm going to hit stop here and allow you to just stay in this meditative space. Maybe this is your evening time. You can settle in and start preparing yourself for bed. Maybe this is the morning for you if you're rewatching this video. And if that's the case, maybe you do a body scan from the soles of the feet back up to allow a little energy to come back in before releasing yourself back from the mat. I'm really grateful for you showing up for your practice today. Thank you for letting me be your guide. And with that, I'll leave you with a gentle saying of namaste.